Republican presidential hopefuls battled last night over national security, each one trying to convince the American public that he or she is most fit to be commander-in-chief. There are major policy differences within the GOP field on issues such as regime change in the Middle East or defense spending, the U.S. role in fighting ISIS, and just how the U.S. can best win the global war on terror. CNN's chief national security correspondent Jim Sciutto is here to help us separate fact from fiction. Jim, let's start with Donald Trump, who suggested shutting down the internet. He then clarified to talk about shutting it down in parts of the Arab world to help defeat and destroy ISIS. Is that a reasonable proposal?
Well, Jay, you heard Senator Ted Cruz talk about carpet bombing ISIS. This might be the internet or the technological equivalent of carpet bombing. As Senator Rand Paul pointed out last night, there are certainly freedom of expression implications of that, but also just practical implications, because it's not really the way the internet works. There's no great Chinese firewall like you have in China. It's just such an open system. And from my perspective, that was one of the headlines of this debate. Very bold foreign policy, national security pronouncements, some of them a bit hard to back up.
We have people across this country who are scared to death.
In the wake of the largest terror attack on U.S. soil since 9/11, the Republican presidential candidates delivered tough talk on national security.
This president hasn't kept us safe.
Still, their command of some of the defense topics was, well, up for debate. Senator Ted Cruz has said he would launch an indiscriminate bombing campaign against ISIS, a tactic known as carpet bombing, as opposed to the surgical strikes the U.S. currently uses.
Would you carpet bomb Raqqa, the ISIS capital, where there are a lot of civilians? Yes or no?
You would carpet bomb where ISIS is, not a city, but the location of the troops. You use air power directed, and you have embedded special forces to direct the air power.
But directed strikes, as he calls them, are the opposite of carpet bombing.
We need a president.
The senator also blamed the Obama administration for not identifying social media posts made by San Bernardino shooter Tashfeen Malik before being granted a visa to the U.S.
We didn't monitor the Facebook posting of the female San Bernardino terrorist because the Obama DHS thought it would be inappropriate. She made a public call to jihad, and they didn't target it.
While it's true that Malik's social media trail was not reviewed during the visa process, her views on jihad would not have been found without a warrant because they were expressed in private direct messages, not in public social media postings. CNN's Jake Tapper pressed Cruz on the issue.
That's my understanding, is that the message that she wrote was, first of all, in Urdu, second of all, under a pseudonym, and third of all, in a private message that she was saying back and forth with some friends.
Listen, if we're not capable of understanding Urdu, then we shouldn't be approving visa applications.
But we don't have access to the Facebook private messages of people. This wasn't posted on her page. It was a private message.
We should be directing our attention to focusing on radical Islamic terrorism.
We should be able to penetrate the internet.
Donald Trump advocates shutting down parts of the internet to cut off ISIS's access to the web.
Are you open to closing parts of the internet?
I would certainly be open to closing areas where we are at war with somebody. I sure as hell don't want to let people that want to kill us and kill our nation use our internet. Yes, sir, I am.
Trump seems stumped on a question about the nation's nuclear triad, the capability to launch nuclear bombs from the air, land, and sea.
Of the three legs of the triad, though, do you have a priority? Because I want to go to Senator Rubio after that and ask him.
To me, nuclear is just the power, the devastation is very important to me.
Senator Rubio, do you have a response?
I do. Well, first, let's explain to people home what the triad is. Maybe a lot of people haven't heard that terminology before.
There was another sensitive moment in the debate last night when Senator Rubio seemed to be implying that Senator Cruz had released classified information as relates to the intelligence community's ability to access metadata of phone calls. We learned just a short time ago that the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Senator Richard Burr, as well as the vice chairman, Dianne Feinstein, they've announced they are not investigating any comments from last night's debate as a violation or release, rather, Jake, of classified information.
All right, Jim Sciutto, thanks so much.